and welcome to the first ever local podcast. I'm your main host, Graham McCormack. I'm delighted to finally get this going. We've been working at it for a while, and we're happy to finally get it through your airwaves. I'm joined by my co-host and internet fuckboy Joseph Hartwinks. How you doing, Joe?
I'm good. I'm good. It's good that you've had me listed as a writer on the site for ages, and it's good that even though I'll probably never write something for the site because of my own fucking laziness, I would at least be able to say I'm on the podcast. At least I'll have that to say. For like me, an excuse me putting on the writer section.
Yeah, you've been listed as a writer your whole time, and you've not even so much as thought about writing.
I was in the preview tweet thread of the writers to be excited for on the site.
Yeah.
And I'm also probably one of the most experienced writers on that section. I've written nothing.
I know, I was quite excited. I was like, Joe's quite a big Q. He's written for Pure Football, got his own blogs and stuff. Good writer. No, not even.
There's an idea listed on my idea thing, and that's the most I've ever done. I'm gonna take that down now actually because I don't want anybody else to read that. That's embarrassing.
So we're gonna lead in by talking about the Scotland game. Obviously, which one?
Yeah, a devastating loss to who the fuck was it? Saturday?
Slovakia.
You sure?
Yeah, just about. I didn't even watch the game. I'm on too much of a high to watch another Scotland game until next summer.
So my English mate tried to wind me up by being like, "Oh, I can't believe he's lost after all this shit on Thursday." It's like, mate, I didn't fucking care. I don't even think half of them realised the game was happening.
No, everyone's still hung. I think people are still hungover now. 6 days after it. Yeah. Obviously, we're talking about our penalties win against Serbia to send us to the Euros. How did you react to the game whilst it was on? Were you confident?
I was fairly fine until this the cut from the studio and the Sky thing to the grass pitch, and that's when the sinking feeling came into my throat. Like, oh shit. So in my flat we were watching it, and then my two Northern Irish flatmates were watching their game like at a wee TV just below. So for the entire game I was like up and down, which probably made things way worse. I felt like any time I looked down, Serbia were about to score. Or Marshall was doing something to try and stop Serbia from scoring. But yeah, I still can't fully process the game. Like, it's just they actually did it for once.
I can process the game, but I can't process the reality of what the game. Reality of the game that we're going to the Euros. It's like we're going to be in the Panini sticker book. Well, apparently we're not going to have a new kit, but I think they might turn it around when they realise the money making potential. We're going to be in like special FIFA add-ons to the game, all that kind of stuff that you look at and you see other countries, even like countries like fucking Wales.
EA Sports might have to actually face scan the Griffith's face.
Well, they fixed John McGinn this year anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that.
The only guy to get a face scan and get uglier. John McGinn. Oh god.
That's a bit harsh. I think yeah, and
oh yeah, of the three McGinn brothers, he is the most handsome.
That is not a hard feat to accomplish. Obviously, I'm a huge Simon fan, so I'm obsessed with all the McGinn brothers. I think they're all amazing. So that's my formal apology to them.
Speaking of back to the game and off of the Graham's depressing fanaticism with a really shit club, just like the fact is also like before. Obviously, Steve Clark said to make things interesting, like a fucking Hollywood director, and bring on McBurney, Patterson, and fuck was it McLean?
Yeah.
Yeah, just bringing things on, making things difficult for us. We looked really comfortable against players that we were shitting ourselves for.
Yeah. Like,
I didn't realise Milinkovic-Savic was on the pitch.
No.
Until he came off. Mitrovic was shit. Even before the penalty, he just didn't really do anything. Luka Jovic, if Scott McTominay didn't just give him like the freedom of fucking Serbia, he would have done nothing either. Like, no. They just didn't show up, but we gave them just too much respect, even though we still won. It's just kind of...
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. I think the game was really comfortable. We should have went for the jugular. I think their attack was like non-existent. I mean, Declan Gallagher was had Mitrovic in his back pocket like he was like Curtis Main or something like that. You know,
that's what really incredible to me. Like, people for ages were terrified of like midfield were like really fucking good. Left backs, we've got every good left back in the world basically is Scottish. Right back, we're not great, but we've had worse. Definitely had worse. Strikers, Lyndon Dykes come in, been fine, and Fraser can play anywhere apparently. So it was always centre back that was the issue, and Clark has solved that by playing as little centre backs as he possibly can. He's got a centre midfielder from Manchester United, a left back from Arsenal, and a guy that should probably still be in jail. Like, well, okay, he's been to jail at least, which probably should disqualify you from being in the national team starting to centre back, and yet.
Like, I don't care if he was convicted for murder or whatever. If he gets us to the Euros, it could be like it could be the worst criminal possible and get us to the Euros, and I'll still love him. I think
he owned a baseball bat in Scotland. Like, that's what really gets me. Like, an aluminum baseball bat. Like, if you own aluminum, that, you are committing a crime.
Aluminum.
Yes. Aluminium. Sorry.
Your pop punk internet fuckboy Joe Swartwinks is very Americanised. I think yeah, if you own a baseball bat in Scotland, I mean, you're not going to be playing baseball with it.
Also, it's like not even baseball players play with metal baseball bats. It's wooden. It's wood they use in the actual like professional. So why the fuck would you? Like, the only reason you own that is because you're about to beat up somebody for money they owe you.
Yeah, definitely. But is there even any baseball teams in Scotland?
No.
No.
Like. And like, he's starting over like Leeds' captain.
Yeah, who's been like bang average at best for us.
Or Andy Considine. Like, he's starting over those two.
Yeah, Andy Considine is there purely for the patter, I think.
He is the mascot.
Yeah.
He is Scottish football's mascot at this point. Like, he's not even.
I know, Steve Clark will need to put him in the squad regardless, just for.
It's like Will Grigg in 2016 at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's not even like if he just stays on the bench constantly, like, it'll be fine.
Yeah, like 4 years ago, Northern Ireland fans was it in France? We were in France singing like Will Grigg's on fire, all that stuff, and we'll be tearing down the streets of London, like bigging it up in Trafalgar Square, singing Yes Sir I Can Boogie. I mean, I did buy it on iTunes. Did you buy it?
I didn't buy it. No, I just added it to my Spotify. Like, I've got this with my mates. Got two collaborative playlists. One for my flat and one for my mates I met last year. I don't know why I'm saying like it's not you.
Yeah, I am in that group.
yeah, in that group. And I added to both those playlists, and that was about it. Like, I didn't really, and also I played it a lot the night, like when I was getting very, very drunk afterwards.
Yeah.
And that was about it.
It was a lot of fun. To sing it. It's a really fun song, and it's quite fun to sing along and have a good time. Like, I think Andy Constantine's in on it as well, and he did it.
Yeah, I mean, he literally dressed up in drag for a stag do, and then filmed the video, and then let it get released publicly
at his wedding as well. Like, they played it at his wedding. Yeah, you've got to be a really good sport to allow that. But yeah, I think hopefully it will die down before next summer. I don't mind it picking it up next summer because I think I do like it being our kind of our song, but I just hope it doesn't get rinsed to fuck.
You just tell, like, when the clubs first opened, it's gonna get rinsed a bit.
Well, George Bowie's already working on a remix,
oh, Jesus Christ,
so it's going to get GBXified.
That's what that means. That.
Yeah. The George Bowie experience.
Fuck's sake. Jesus Christ. I was gonna say, like the Shed and Savoy are gonna rinse that song. The fuck.
Savoy.
I said Savoy.
Savoy.
I didn't say Savoy. I did not say Savoy.
It's the Savoy.
Is that?
Yeah, it's not the Savoy.
Savoy sounds way more natural.
Nah, it's
Savoy.
Savoy. It's only club.
It sounds like a fucking river in Egypt. Like, it just.
Yeah, it sounds a lot more posh than it is. It's only a club in Glasgow to have carpets. I think in it. There's a club in Paisley as well that's carpeted. I've never been there. It's
That's
called
like
Vienna's.
I used to pronounce Govan Govan.
You're the. I just like to clarify for the listeners. Joe is like the most middle class person I've ever met in my life.
That's because you're from Paisley where nobody is middle class.
Even rich people in Paisley still are still not middle class.
Even when people from Paisley still wear trackies.
I'm literally wearing trackies right now, so I can't.
This
argue
is
that.
high class outfit for you.
So that it is. We've digressed a bit from the game.
Good. Well, I think you brought it up.
Yeah, I think the baseball bat took us down a dark path, but we'll digress.
Similar to what Dan Gallagher would lead you down with the baseball bat.
Oh, fuck's sake. I think we'll talk about the game a bit because we are trying to be kind of semi-serious. Do you
Ryan
think?
Christie crying almost made me cry. That's good. That's a good thing to be semi-serious on. Like I came back in and just saw Ryan Christie almost in tears, and I almost started breaking down. Because the first thing I did after the game was phone my dad.
Yeah. I was watching it with my dad. It was a really great moment actually.
I don't think I said anything of note apart from "Holy fuck, Dad!" It actually happened. But yeah, that was the first thing I did. And then I came back in, just saw him crying. It's like, oh god.
Yeah. My dad was like kind of my age the last time we were at a major tournament, and he was just telling me about how like fucking great it was, like just partying all summer, watching Scotland play. Obviously, we got like pumped 3-0 off Morocco.
Yeah, we drew it. We lost to Brazil.
Yeah, Tom Boyd scored an own goal that absolutely fucked us. I say us. I
was 2 years before I was born.
Yeah, 3 for me. You're an old man, Joe.
Yeah.
So the actual game, if we get back to that.
Yeah.
So in terms of the game, I think we were really value for a win if we were able to hold on. I think we definitely did show them too much respect in the 90, and I think I was so impressed with every performance on that pitch. Even Stephen O'Donnell,
Stephen O'Donnell genuinely baffled me, because like that's a better performance he puts in at club level.
Yeah.
Like, who was the guy? I can't remember what the left winger's name was, so like left wing back, whatever. But he did exactly what you needed him to do, which is just do the basics properly.
Yeah.
And he was even like getting forward and shit, like not like fucking making the tackle shit, just applying pressure and forcing people into mistakes. It was weird.
Yeah,
like,
I think
I was too stressed out to realise how easy the full game before the equaliser was.
Yeah, me
But
too.
then
Me
when I
too.
was like rethinking it, like in hindsight,
You watch that game back and it's totally comfortable. We like absolutely cruised that game. Serbia were absolutely. If I was a Serbia fan,
I
I'd be
can't
so
remember the
fucked
stat,
off.
but it was like they've not actually won a game in 90 minutes in a year, or like a home game or something in 90 minutes in a year. Like they're bottom of their Nations League group and shit. Like it's, considering the talent they have, they're arguably they're really badly managed. And so like
Yeah.
we took, like I'm not complaining obviously, we took full advantage of it.
Yeah. Before the match, I did a preview for the site,
Yeah.
and Serbia's only competitive wins before this game were games against, I think it was San Marino, Lithuania, and also Norway in that playoff, which was actually a bit of an anomaly when you look into it. So, we should have. I did have a feeling that we'd win, but I should have been more confident in hindsight. Like, Sport Scotland, you can never fully.
I think this is the last 22 years of just nothing but pain. Like I was half expecting like a recreation of the fucking Italy game 2007 or 2008, whatever it was, just like a bullshit refereeing decision, and then we'd be fucked.
Yeah, and James McFadden being a right cunt by giving us all hope by being really good. Like, imagine I was watching Fletcher and Faddy in the studio with Ailey Barber. I thought they were all really good, by the way. And McFadden, like, he was just so full of passion, and I'm like, see if he was in his prime in this side, if we had a striker like him playing with Dykes, we'd be like a serious contender, I think.
McFadden is like kind of the last of like a breed of footballers that I don't think exists anymore, where you're more, well, maybe not for Scotland, but you're more loved at national level than you are at club level.
Yeah,
I don't think any Everton fan, well, like they probably like liked him, but they didn't like love him. Or like any other team he played for, like maybe apart from maybe Motherwell, like nobody really had like a lot of love for James McFadden. I don't mean like in a bad way, just didn't really care about him. And then in Scotland, he's like a fucking hero, idolising.
Yeah, that it's just like, it's not even that goal against France. Was it Lithuania he scored that solo goal against?
Yeah, I think so. But it was just a performance in general. Like he rarely gave a bad performance, and if he did, it's because of other people around him.
I know, like playing under some like Bertie Vokes or
Bertie Vokes.
Burley.
Yeah, like it's arguably his best. Is Bob Smith and Wall Smith and maybe Ash McLeish were like the only two good managers he played under.
Yeah. I mean, we nearly did it under McLeish, but he really fucked us over the second time around for Scotland.
Did he? I mean, we only got to the nations. They only got to this because of him. He won
maybe actually
the Nations League group. I do think that group appointment was bad, and overall his time wasn't great. Well, it was really bad. But considering that he won the group and that's led us to this, you do have to give him at least some credit.
Yeah, maybe he didn't fuck us over. That was a bit extreme, just because I think people are still bitter about him leaving the first time round.
I mean, Warner Smith did the exact same thing, and people give him less shit.
Yeah, true. I think he did well to get us the victory in the Nations League. Was the team manager every group game?
Yeah, I think a few in the qualifiers as well. Which really fucked us.
Yeah.
Because I think realistically, if Steve Clark was managing the side at the time, he would have got qualified the first time instead of going through this.
Yeah.
Overly tense bullshit.
I think people have been also. Gordon Strachan was speaking, and I think people look at him a bit too much with rose tinted glasses. I know we came close against Slovenia, but
I don't. I thought he was shite.
Yeah, I know, but I've seen a lot of people saying that it was better than a lot of people give him credit for, and like he came out the other day and went, "Isn't it great that we have a player like Dykes? Would you have picked him when you were Scotland manager?" And I went, "No, we had big Chris Martin." Like, this is why, like. This is why we didn't get to the World Cup with Strachan, because
Dykes' Chris Martin's best moment as a Scotland player was
an own goal.
A Slovakian player scoring an own goal near him.
Yeah, Martin's scuttle was Chris Martin's best moment.
He was vaguely in the vicinity of an own goal that happened, so it looked like he scored it. That was his best moment.
Yeah.
Did he even? He scored one goal, I think. Maybe.
Maybe. Oh. Did he not score an equaliser against Lithuania or something like that?
Fuck, he did.
Yeah. That's like a game I've relegated to the vast.
I've got a vague image of Barry Bannon trying to hug him.
Barry Bannon, fuck's sake.
That's a good thing. Like, we're now gonna get rid of all these like championship wasters.
Yeah.
Like, the only thing that we'll be stuck with is their annoying fans on Twitter being like, "Oh, why isn't fucking who the fuck James McCarthy getting a call up? He's quality for Watford or whatever the fuck he is now."
Yeah.
They're just the most like pointless players.
Irishman James McCarthy.
Irishman.
I get your point. No, I know what you mean.
Or Aidan McGeady.
Yeah. Fuck Aidan McGeady.
I know, at least Aidan McGeady. This is very, very off topic. This is wildly off topic now. But at least Aidan McGeady came through the entire Irish on the system because Scotland didn't want him, and then when Scotland came, he was like, "No, I want to play for Ireland."
I mean, yeah, kind of fair enough. So that was a loose talk about the football. We'll talk about the penalties quickly before we move on. Were you able to watch the penalties? Because
I was fine.
My heart was in
my mate Daniel, who was like stressing out and like going mental. Also, if you think I'm middle class, Daniel literally doesn't have a Scottish accent. So just for clarity, he sounds like every posh English villain in like a fucking like BBC movie. Like he was like stressing out, like fucking holding my fucking leg and shit, like how stressed out he was. Meanwhile, I was just 10 out of 10 penalties now. Like it's very like we've scored every single penalty we've come across in every penalty shootout.
I think we might have lulled ourselves into a false sense of security with the penalties now, because we've been so good in the past two shootouts. I'm like confident in a penalty shootout that.
I mean, if Ollie McBurney can score a penalty, surely anything's possible.
Yeah, fucking Ollie McBurney. Oh, it was actually a good penalty as well. The only good thing I'd ever done in a Scotland shirt.
Oh fuck! Like just every penalty, like the players you were panicking, even though it was like players that were good at taking penalties. Like I was panicking at Lake Griffiths taking a penalty, even though he's like the best penalty taker in the squad.
Yeah. Like
he was only brought on at the end to take a penalty.
Yeah, I know. I think. So, will you be doing your best to get to a game at the Euros? Do you think, or are you going to just watch it at home?
I've no idea. I mean, like, I feel like I obviously want to go, but yeah, I'll definitely try to get tickets because I feel like all my mates will be trying to get tickets as well, at least for I'd love to go to the England game if that was possible, obviously. But if I can get to one of the games in Hampden as well, if I at least get to one of the games at Hampden, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
But then again, there'll be like fans. Hopefully, if coronavirus is fucked off, there'll be like fan zones all over like Glasgow and shit like that to watch it at as well. So yeah, I wouldn't. There'll be plenty of options. Like, I'm not that heartbroken if I can't go to Hampden to watch the game, because really all that matters is the fact that Scotland is there for once.
Yeah, I know. As long as I can watch it with my friends or family, like as long as I'm not like just watching it in a house, as long as I'd be at a fan zone or at a pub or like something like that, or like even a social gathering, just being able to get drunk. I think we need to rival Open Goal's Boogie Bus, do our own bus. That's a bit less cringy. Anyway, we've talked quite a lot about football there. We'll move quickly on to some politics. You know, we could be maligned for our opinions here, as Joe's a massive Tory, and
Well, the Communist Manifesto on my fucking bookshelf. Like, you can see it directly right there. Do you see any fucking Wealthy Nations? Any fucking, what's a Tory?
Milton Friedman, something like that.
Yeah, you see any fucking that? Nah. It's mostly fucking fantasy books.
Yeah, you're a fucking nerd, mate. He's got, just for clarification, he's got 100 Beast Quest books lined up on his bookshelf.
It's all a Beast Quest. It's Lord of the Rings, but not the actual books, like the lore books.
Oh,
like
right,
the
okay.
added-on books, yeah.
Yeah.
There's all of that.
I'm going to talk quite a bit about the tier system that's just been imposed by our fearless leader, Nicola Sturgeon. How do you feel about it? Do you think it's justified? Do you think...
I think Scotland's maybe a bit too small to have a tier system like this, especially for like different council areas. Like treating rent like stuff like Lanarkshire as being like so different and out of places like Glasgow, it just seems a bit silly to me. Because it's
there's so much,
especially when people we've been like most people who I say work in Glasgow probably don't live in Glasgow. Like probably most of them probably like, go in and out.
Yeah, most people in Glasgow stay in the peripherals of the city, even in like where I'm from, Rivshire or Lanarkshire. It's people just people travel everywhere for work. Like Scotland's not a big country. The jobs are pretty concentrated in two main cities, and apart from like the oil rigs up north or whatever. But it's like no matter what happens, there's going to be a lot of cross contamination or whatever.
Yeah, like I would get it if it was like I don't know, Spain or Germany. It was like a
even England.
Even England, like it's like a much larger country with like more space everywhere. But Scotland's small and most of the population is concentrated in the central belt.
Yeah. Like
it just seems a bit like realistically, it's gonna take a fucking massive effort by the Highlands and Islands to ever get out tier 1 or tier 2. Like, they're never gonna be out like it's as pointless for us as it is for them. Like either put everybody into a national lockdown or don't bother. I don't really get that.
It's funny because like Dumbarton is tier 4, and like a couple of miles down the road Helensburgh's tier 2, and it's like, do you think people like, I'm not saying they should obviously, but do you think people aren't going to just go to like fucking Helensburgh, like from Dumbarton?
I mean like, the government's like too afraid like put police at fucking streets and like actually find people and arrest people. But realistically, if you actually want people to stop going to places, that is maybe the only. If they like, I'm not saying they should, because I think that's fucking stupid. But if they actually wanted to stop people from moving around and traveling, like actually making the police enforce these laws would be the only way to actually do it. And they seem too afraid to. They don't want to look like a police state, and realistically, that's the only thing that will actually get these laws enforced.
Yeah, so the rules do seem pretty. Understand why they're being imposed. Like obviously the cases are rising, but it's just like there's been so fucking gross incompetence, top to bottom, in the whole country from start to finish. Like the fact we didn't go into lockdown till the end of March. Like
it's like, at least in the beginning, like the government had the excuse of like Scottish government. I mean, not the British government. The Scottish government had the excuse of like not of being latched to England and kind of having to react, trying to be as proactive as possible, but also react to whatever England's doing because we're the same economy and we're the same, like we share an open border. Like there's not much that we can really do if people just England decide to come up here based off like British rules. But I think at this point, with some idiotic decisions the Scottish government has made, they can't really use that as an excuse anymore. Like, why the fuck is school still open? A school in Grand Loftus had to shut down after high school in Grand Loftus had to shut down after half their students came down with coronavirus.
Yeah,
police had to get tested for it.
I understand why the schools are still open, because there's a lot of kids that don't get a hot meal at home, that are maybe escaping a difficult home, or even like childcare. A lot of people can't afford childcare, but there has to be some way other than just sending kids to school like fucking unmitigated.
To get the disease that's going to kill the granny that lives next door.
Yeah,
like
it's like totally unmitigated the way that they're just all sent back. Like that, I understand that children need to be taken care of, and I totally get that. But there needs to be like some. I'm not a fucking politician. I don't need to come up with a solution here, but there needs to be some way to kind of implement it that thousands of kids aren't just on top of each other all day, every day.
I mean, my theory is that just all politicians hate their kids, and so they kind of want to just avoid being near their kids constantly. Like that summer was enough for them.
Yeah.
Like, they that extended summer was enough. Like they realistically never see their kids again.
Yeah.
Like they had the best option would have been at the beginning and now just to give people money to stay the fuck at home, and because like you laugh and be like that would have been the best way to do it, but the Tories, the Scottish government doesn't have the money on their own from the budget they get from the English government to do that, and the English government's never going to do that.
No,
because they're Tories.
Yep.
And even then, even with saying they're Tories, this Labour government wouldn't do it, the Lib Dems wouldn't do it. The only people who'd maybe do was the Jeremy Corbyn government, and that's not a fucking option, obviously. He only just got reinstated today.
Yeah,
Labour.
Would you go into that? That's a mess. Yeah, I think we'll move on to one of our first segments of the show, which is looking at regional news stories in Scotland. So Joe, I have prepared some news stories from the past week.
I've not seen any of these.
No,
just to be clear.
Joe's not seen any of these. He will be reacting blindly. I will be presenting them to you. You can tell me what you think.
I know Fife's been brought up, but that's all about it now.
Fife has been interesting. This is from the Stranraer and Wigtonshire Free Press.
Okay.
Very well designed website. Looks like it's from the early 2000s. Piggy bank pinched by opportunist thief.
I see.
Beware opportunist thieves. A piggy bank was stolen from a house in Shuken Street in Stranraer when a passing thief took a chance.
Street.
Yeah.
That's not real. That's a place Robert Burns made up.
To lean in a window left open in the warm weather to take the bank. So, if you're living in Stranraer, fucking thoughts and prayers to the first piggy bank that was. I mean, I couldn't imagine.
That's a story that journalist was like assaulted with in a pub, and he needed to put that story in because he was like, fuck, there's literally nothing going on.
He's like,
this dumb shit.
He's like, fuck, I need to put something on this website. It's not been updated in 20 years. I need to put something up. Like, fucking piggyback. Like, imagine like that was in the Daily Record, like, front page.
That's just the one story he puts up a week to justify his job's existence. To, like, the massive mega corporation that definitely owns like Stranraer Free Press.
Yeah, well, a lot of the press, the local papers are now owned by the Record, but
yeah, that's the one.
The Stranraer Free Press are standing strong, standing free, and producing some great content. And here's our next article comes from Fife Today, which is, it's brought me a lot of joy over reading this. And the story is, Glen Rothes man stole bottles of gin from Aldi. Fucking heinous crime.
Like that probably happens at least a dozen times a day in Glasgow, and it's not news.
Yeah,
and yet it's fucking front page news in Glen Rothes.
Yeah, must be fuck all going on in Glen Rothes right now, because I work in a Tesco and people steal things all the time. I've never had the paper come up and talk to me about a stolen bottle of gin. I mean,
gin is a very random thing to steal.
Is it?
Like, especially like, say how old the guy was. Because to me, I imagine gin to me is something like uni students drink.
36-year-old man.
To me, that's something like uni students drink, like effeminate uni students. Yeah. Like, it's not something that like other people drink.
And if you're thinking like yeah, maybe he stole hundreds of pounds worth of gin from Aldi. Nope, he stole £56.25 worth of gin from Aldi. You know, heart goes out to everyone.
So he stole like 4 balls of Gordon's. Maybe.
Yeah, less, maybe even less. Heart goes out to everyone at Glenrothes Aldi. Hope you guys are staying strong in spite of factors.
If you were recovering from the trauma of being held at not even knife point, vague threat point by a guy stealing gin.
His sentence has been deferred to December 17th. So right now, a dangerous man is roaming the streets of Glenrothes completely unchecked, which I would be terrified personally if I was a Glenrothes citizen.
You can find him by stumbling around. He's like, gin balls are falling out of his clothes.
Okay, so
it's like a cartoon card. You turn him upside down and shake him, just gin balls fall out.
So our next story is has a bit more drama, a bit more intrigue. It has a bit more of that X factor. However, it is like a 100-word article. Stennismere sex offender chucks brick through his mum's window.
There's a lot going on in that sentence.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if his status as a sex offender has led him to throw a brick through his mum's window. I don't know if they're related at all. But you know, it's certainly a compelling story. Yeah, it's. What do you think, Joe?
Mum deserved to have a brick through her window by her sex offender son. Is that the entire story?
Honestly, I'm reading the story. Like, he pleaded guilty. He smashed the window of his mother's house, and also he pleaded guilty to behaving in a threatening manner in Lloyd's pharmacy. So, behaving in a threatening manner is...
I will say that the sex offender part is very relevant to the story.
No, I don't think it has.
This is a very random moment of pettiness by the reporter, just to add in the fact he's a sex offender.
They just want to click like, oh, sex offender. Let's see what he's been up to. Nope, just poked a brick through it.
Yeah, the link of it's sex offender ... And then you open it, it's just the most inane shit.
So we're going back to Fife. A small drive from Falkirk. I don't know what road it is because who would ever on purpose go to that part of the world?
Football, that's it.
So this one is also quite intriguing. I think Fife is bringing us quite a lot. Is really bringing a lot to the table here in terms of stories.
If this becomes a weekly segment, which I'm guessing it will, because I've never seen you this happy before in my life.
Yeah.
The Fife will maybe be the main event.
Yeah, like so the story is, Fife women acted in an aggressive manner with a sword.
Fife women, Florida man's niece, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think Fife woman, Fife man is the Scottish equivalent of Florida man.
Aye. Fife is the Florida Scotland at this point. Definitely.
Without I don't know if there's any theme parks in or amazing beaches in Fife.
There's not any like
St Andrews, I guess.
There's usually like rich people in Florida. There's definitely no rich people in Fife.
St Andrews.
It's old people and crazy people in Fife.
You've got the St Andrews students there.
That's not Fife. That's Tayside.
Oh, is it?
They don't consider themselves Fifers. They say it's Tayside.
Well, apologies to all St Andrews residents for being associated with Fife.
All 5 of the native St Andrews people that live in St Andrews, and not just like posh Americans.
Okay, so the assailant she shouted, swore, acted in an aggressive manner, and refused to desist whilst in the possession of a sword and methyl. You know, it's like Fife Today are just putting up these articles with a couple of 100 words with just a fucking sensational headline. just try to get attention to their site. I don't know, but
it's not really drawing attention to it. It's just like this is what happens in Fife on a daily basis.
Yeah,
people just
have swords.
You know, I've seen the video of like the Falkirk High Street video where the women shouting "That's your nephew" constantly.
Also, the Falkirk fans at the train station.
Oh, God, yeah, doing the fucking Highland dancing with
the Gay Gordons with each other.
It was great. Like the time I went to Falkirk to watch Dunny United play, and I was just like on that at that train station to be like, I am standing on history.
Was it that game?
No, it was not that game. It was not the 6-1 game. It was the 1-0. It was the 1-0 game where we basically lost the league. This was after you got promoted.
Yeah.
You wouldn't give a shit about that.
I'll take us to our final story before we move on. You know, this is magnum opus of this week's news stories. Guess where it's from?
Five.
It is from Five Today. You know, I've got to thank the people at Five Today for producing this amazing content. They're just really they're the lifeblood of the local podcast. And the story is as follows: Fife man fined for producing cannabis and exposing himself.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, surely if you're exposing yourself, you're on more than cannabis. Like surely, like, there's more going on than just smoking weed. Smoking weed chills you out, but not to the point where you're just getting your dick out in public.
you know, the man conducted himself in a disorderly manner by entering the streets naked from the waist down with his private parts exposed and committed a breach of the peace. And when he was arrested for that, they found that he was growing cannabis in his home. So, like, this guy's obviously got some stuff going on, you know.
Yeah, he has a lot going on in his head. He's in a dark place.
Yeah, I think we've got to thank all the people at Fife Today for this content. You know, you
Thank
really
the people at Fife for being the news story.
yeah. Thank you to the sex offender brick thrower, to the gin stealer, to the cameras producing man who exposed himself. You've really made my day with this.
I can understand why, like, the council, that like Fife Council, whatever, is clinging to the Kingdom of Fife name, just to give them some veneer of like class. Yeah. And like not just being the land of just junkies and old people.
The junkies and old people. That's some status.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, where I'm from, Angus, is just old people, so at least they have both.
Old people and gingerbread.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah. So we'll move on to our final segment in the show. You know, it's been a bit incoherent, but it's been fun. So every week we're going to be reviewing an album.
No good podcast is coherent.
I did not say we're good.
Okay. All bad podcasts are coherent.
All good and bad podcasts are coherent. Actually, that's a kind of unifying factor. Every week we're going to talk about a Scottish album, which
this is the one I'm looking forward to the most over the weeks, because me and Graham have very different music tastes. I like choruses, he doesn't.
I do like a chorus, but you to establish for the listeners, Joe is really into pop punk. On his website,
pop punk and Oasis.
The tagline is a Fall Out Boy lyric. That tells you what you can need to know about. The album we're reviewing, we've finally got to it after we take 10 minutes of digression every single time we move on to a new topic. We're going to be talking about Hats Off to the Buskers by Dundee's very own The View. I'll let Joe take this away, because it's the album that he chose, and it's an album that I think is quite close to your heart.
I like it a lot. The View are great because it's one of those bands where you just see the members walking around Dundee every now and then. Like I've sat not next to Carl Falconer, but like a few like tables behind him in like pubs and shit. And I think it's a really, really good album. It does tail off a bit at the end, but I think Coming Down is really good opener to the track.
Absolutely.
All the singles really good. The one acoustic song that every indie band has to have in their songs, in their albums by law, based with the radio, I think is good.
It's not even available on Spotify though.
Yeah, for some reason. My theory is that the ex-girlfriend that song's clearly about must have sued him or something. Because
it's like, get rid of that.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a really good album. I will also say, for the quick thing, I am nowhere near as clued into like music. I do not know any instruments. I can't sing. I just listen to a lot of music. For like the actual musical analysis, it would basically just be Graham. I'd be hanging on to Graham for most of the actual decent musical analysis. Mine would just be taking the piss out of like bad lyrics and bad singing, which we will get to.
Yeah, I think overall it's a pretty good album. It's like, of all the landfill indie of its era, it's towards the top. I think it's got a lot of good elements. I really like how bluesy it is at points. Like Coming Down's a really great opener. Yeah, I think I like the way they infuse the noise in the blues in some of the tracks. I think a few of the tracks are pretty boring, to be honest.
Yes, like at the end it just seemed like at the end it feels like they were running out of ideas. A bit.
Yeah, and I like the transition between Superstar Tradesmen and Same Jeans. The way they kind of it stops abruptly and Same Jeans just starts straight away. I really think that's the more we get into it, you'll learn that I fucking love transitions between songs. It's like, it's just so satisfying to me, a good transition.
Yeah.
I think it's quite enjoyable. There's a few songs that I didn't love. Grands for Tea. Thought,
I love that song.
did you?
Yeah, I love it.
It's just like,
It's, I don't know, maybe it's just very, very Dundee lyrics, but
it's just like, how many indie albums are about the minutiae of like working class normal life, like going to your Grands for Tea, like fucking going to the shops and buying a packet of fags. Do you know what I mean? Like, only so much of that you can tolerate before you're like,
maybe it's because I don't listen to that many indie artists. I can I'm alright with it.
yeah.
But might be the reason. I don't know. I like it.
I think
It's a very simple song, but
yeah.
I think it's good.
I think the first three songs in the album, Coming Down, Superstar Tradesman and Same Jeans, are really, really carry the album.
Do you know have you heard the idea that like Same Jeans is just like a rip off of
Brimful of Asha?
Yeah, I can't hear it.
I can. Sometimes I'm singing Same Jeans, like, and I'll accidentally go in to start singing like Everybody Needs a Bosom for a Pillow from the Brimful of Asha song.
Ah, okay.
Like they are quite similar, but nonetheless it's a really great kind of indie pop song.
That was like one of the first songs I probably remember hearing because they're from Dundee before everybody realised like they were like I think before my mum and dad realised they were like also like massive druggies and like JD and shit like that. Like, oh my god, like Joe, they're from Dundee. They're from like near where Gran lives. And I was like 4 years later like, oh god, they're from near where Gran lives. But yeah, like Superstar Trademen is like a song I really like because it's Carol Falconer, like just, and the band, say the band, it's just Carol Falconer. It does seem like the most of the lyrics are written by him and maybe some are written by Carol Webster, the bassist, just like venting about their frustrations against people around them. It's as an artist, as a song that a lot of our artists do end up writing about like people in their area just doubting them and not really believing in them.
Yeah.
I will say though, wherever this hypothetical tradesman is about, must have a very fucking good job to our house in Brodie Ferry.
I do not understand that reference.
Brodie Ferry is like the Mulgie, or at least the Mearns of Dundee.
The what?
How's that? How do you know Mulgie?
Mulgai.
Mulgai.
I.
That is the second worst way I could pronounce that.
Milton Gavey would be worse.
Yeah, Mulgai would have been 10 times worse. It's Mulgai.
Mulgai, yeah.
That's.
It's not very intuitive, the spelling. But Joe is such a tutor, honestly.
It's not being tutored, it's just not being fucking Glasgow. Like, who the fuck spells Mulgai like that?
Yeah, I mean.
Where's the N?
The N?
Yeah.
Milngavie.
That's Moongavie. It's spelled like Moongavie, isn't it?
Milngavie is like how it's spelled, yeah. But it's pronounced Mulgai. I don't make the rules.
Anyway, like I was saying, yeah, it's a good song. Say something, just.
Joe's like incapable of speaking because he's just been shown up for how much of an out of towner he is.
Yeah, I'm out as just not being from Glasgow at all.
Yeah. There was a few comments before this about preparing for your accent, and I think that after that, people have truly been exposed to the full brunt of what your accent can do.
All the comments on like the tweet he put out, it's just gonna be the Lemmy gif. The one Lemmy gif. Yeah.
Fucking voice, man. I know. I feel like Lemmy created that sketch just for you.
Yeah, just for me and that BBC boy, the one like the Alistair Heather.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. To be fair, like he's like doing like actual regional Scots. I just sound like the fuck. It's a very different thing. Like he's actively trying to sound like old Scots, which is like fair enough. I just sound like an idiot.
Yeah. So I think next week I'm picking an album. We're going to be reviewing Franz Ferdinand's debut, which is self-titled. I think you'll enjoy it. It's quite an interesting album. So I think we should rate each album out of 10, and we'll compile a list, and we'll just see which one we think's the best altogether.
Okay.
What would you give it out of 10, Joe?
I'll give it a 7. I'm going to bring it down from an 8 because of Ska Trendy, which I think is awful and horrendous. It has... a song I'm baffled by every time I hear it. It's just one of those like because it has the best bass riff on the album because the bassist is too busy screaming. He's doing this only song that Cal Falconer doesn't sing, and it's the worst song on the album significantly.
The vocals aren't great, yeah.
Which says a lot because Cal Falconer isn't also that great of a singer.
His voice works.
His voice is fine for what it is, but then he just...
Too many people have came along and now have like tried to imitate him, like bands like the Snuts.
Is this where you talk about your hatred of the Snuts?
I don't really hate the Snuts, but I mean, I don't like them. I think just a lot of bands really want to be like The View or like Arctic Monkeys or like they've kind of come along now. Like the Snuts, like the lead singer, he dresses like Cal Falconer, sings like him, plays it. They write similar kind of music.
It's very funny to me that The View of all the bands in the 2000s are going to be the most influential out of them all.
I don't know about that, but I think if I was to rate it out of 10, I give it a 6.
That's fair.
I think there's a lot of elements of the album I liked, but I mean, this isn't the most in-depth analysis, but I thought a lot of the songs were actually just quite boring. Like, not a lot of the lyrics compelled me, but when the album was good, it was really good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that was good. I think that will wrap up our first podcast, the first local podcast.
One thing I was going to say is I'm going to force Gwen to listen to pop punk. There is one Scottish pop punk band that exists in the world, Woes.
Right.
They broke up, or they've broken up now, obviously, but they released one album before they broke up, and I'm going to make you listen to it.
Well, I'm going to get you to listen to some unadulterated like punk or like pop, but separately. Like we're going to be listening to like Churches or Young Fathers or something like that. Like you're not getting away with this.
You're going to make me expand my music taste.
Yeah.
Like some people just some kids just refuse to not eat like chicken nuggets and chips until like 14. I'm like that, but for music. Just refuse to grow up.
Pop punk really is oven chicken nuggets and potato waffles or potato smileys. Like it is bland as it fucking comes.
Nothing wrong with that. It does exactly what it needs to.
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening, folks. That will wrap up our first podcast, and we'll see you next Friday. Hopefully you enjoyed. Let us know what you thought, and
hopefully my accent doesn't scare you off.
Make sure you subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to us on. We're on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, and if you go to our Twitter, you'll see our site. Go and read our great articles. So thanks for listening, folks, and
please go follow me. I have 80 followers. Graham's like 2,000, 3,000.
Okay, so go follow Joe.
Please just get the number up.
Okay, thanks for listening. Oh.